Hey, gorgeous goddess. Welcome to Girl Your Goddess, the sacred space where we step into our feminine power, owning our worth, and creating a life that feels deliciously aligned. I'm Hilary Burton, a women's empowerment coach, occupational therapist, and professional dominatrix. Think of me as your personal guide and hype woman on this journey to unleashing your deepest confidence, sensuality, and self love. If you're ready to heal, rise, and start living like the goddess you are, you're in the right place. So pour your tea or pop that bubbly and let's dive in. Our gorgeous guest today is Juliana. Julie is a trauma-informed coach and somatic practitioner with nearly 15 years of experience providing trauma-informed care. She specializes in helping individuals integrate supportive habits and lifestyle practices that promote emotional and nervous system regulation. Her work focuses on building emotional capacity and resilience so clients can feel more grounded, connected, and empowered in their everyday lives. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here and to help the listeners of our show really tap into their inner self, their authenticity, and practices that we can do daily to help us connect. And most of our show here is tailored towards women, but you do work with women and men. So you help everyone in the population, elevating the collective. Yes. So tell us a little bit how you got started on this journey. What brought you into trauma informed care?
Well, it's always a journey. It was just random, to be honest. Well, what appeared to be random turned
Hmm.
into a whole life discovery.
Yeah.
But after high school, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I went to massage therapy school and then went that route and was working with people doing body work, massage for people with injuries and just all of that good stuff. And then I
Okay.
originally went back to school to study physical therapy because I wanted to expand it. I
Mm.
really liked working with people in that way and helping them.
Yeah.
And once I was there, though, they take you on a roundabout way over here in the United States, and they make you do a bunch of classes that you don't really need and you're not really interested in just to get
Yeah.
some stuff under your belt. I don't know why, but,
Yeah.
I ended up taking a sociology class
Okay.
and reading about, at-risk youth and, our systems and things like that really
Mm.
just, drew me in, and
Yeah.
from there, I changed courses and went the social work route, and
Okay.
after I graduated college, I started working with, kids on probation and in group homes, and then from there, I started working with the county, um and working with children and families in our
Okay.
systems, and that was
Yeah.
for about a little over a decade I did that. And
Okay.
then, I once I had my daughter, the capacity was about I could just feel it,
Mm.
dwindling, where I was, really like a hand holder and very involved and, had all that energy to give to people, which they really need
Yeah.
at that point. I could feel it kind of dwindling and my emotional capacity was lessening.
Yeah.
My patience was wearing, not just with that work, but with my own family.
Hmm.
You're getting a little bit more disorganized and stuff was starting to come up once I had my child that I wasn't really prepared for.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
there was a lot of babies on my caseload and
Mm.
you start handling and internalizing things
Hmm.
differently
Hmm.
than you would prior to having kids. And
Yeah.
so I just knew something was happening that was different, and so I decided to go on leave, and then from there, just got my coaching certification
Yeah.
and certification in somatic work,
Mm.
and that's
Hmm.
kind of what started me on this journey now to owning my own business and helping
Yeah.
people overcome those
Yeah.
overcome those challenges in their life.
It's it's so cool to hear everyone's personal journey, and I love asking that question because it really helps us figure out, like, this makes so much sense while you're in the field now and while you're helping people with what you're helping them with now. And I want to tap in back into that story a little bit because you were talking about how, like, things started to change once you had your daughter and you felt like you were internalizing more things, did you feel like there were things that you needed to process yourself, like emotionally, physically, somatically
Yeah.
now that you were a parent? Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, obviously, when you have children, a lot of childhood stuff comes up.
Mhm.
And I am adopted, and I
Yeah.
also have, some besides being an adoptee, that which is trauma in and of itself, I
Mhm.
also grew up with, like, a very emotionally dysregulated household where there wasn't
Okay.
a lot of attunement.
Mm.
My mom was very emotionally dysregulated, so I didn't really have anybody to go to or process things
Mhm.
with. There wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
co-regulation and things like that, but it had always affected me, like, the piece I was in family reunification, which really
Okay.
I loved because
Yeah.
I loved, like, supporting people and keeping
Mm.
families together and helping them stabilize and just seeing the
Yeah.
journey of, like, when they first come in to how much, like, they can change, and I used to be with
Yeah.
families for about 2 years because it is a process once you're in those systems.
Yeah.
But if, like, we didn't reach the case plan goals, and an alternative route had to be taken, like adoption or guardianship or something like that,
Mm.
it really affected me too, and, I would take it personally, like, is there something more I
Yeah.
could have done? And there was never anything more that you could do in those situations, but
Mhm.
you're doing everything you can. But once I had my daughter and I had a lot of cases where, people were infighting and families were just not on the same page with the well-being of the
Mhm.
child and having to make all of those heavy decisions,
Yeah.
that it hit a lot differently when I
Mhm.
started having to, like, recommend for kids not to
Yeah.
be unified with their parents, and you had all of this, like, family infighting, and you're carrying all these emotions. It did bring, I think, a lot of stuff up for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
and my adoption and my that I had never really processed
Mhm.
appropriately,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
No,
yeah.
I mean, that makes so much sense, right? And I'm wondering how much of the circumstances of your upbringing kind of led into being in social work and being in that field. And I mean, we're on our path for a divine reason, right? So you were meant to experience all that, and that was supposed to lead into that. But also looking at the transformation that you had and being in that field actually required you to address some of those things inside yourself, especially than when you had your own kiddo and you were starting a family. And I feel like that kind of probably like really brought everything up, right? And it was like, I need to work on some of
Yeah,
this because this is really, really affecting my energy and your ability to connect with your daughter potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I mean, your capacity. You're giving so much, right?
Mm.
It's seeing people some of the hardest times in their lives, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
be a builder and, like, solution
Mm.
focus, focus on strengths, and, like, you're
Yeah.
giving a lot, and people are relying on you to get them through this very traumatic,
Yeah.
entangled, confusing system.
Hmm.
And I just did not have the capacity to hold everybody,
Yeah.
including, like, yeah, and that did affect the connection with my daughter. And that's where I really had to take a step back. And it's like, I
Yeah.
didn't wait X amount of years to become a mom, to be
Mm.
irritable and moody and not be
Yeah.
present. You know what
Yes.
I mean? It really,
Yeah.
like, I just had to take a step back, and it was pretty much right away that I
Hmm.
had noticed that I'm not
Yeah.
living to the potential of motherhood,
Mm.
B, not doing anybody a favor by continuing being a social
Yeah.
worker and not
Yeah.
really being able to handhold and, like, the kind of care that they
Mhm,
deserve
mhm.
and they need, like, I'm not doing anybody any
Yeah,
favors, so really had to sit with myself, and luckily I had, like, a good support system and a good,
yeah,
like, manager and supervisor that all understood and I was able to kind of, like, bow out gracefully and, like,
Mhm. Yeah,
cases
yeah.
we had worked really hard on, and, like, I saw a lot of families through a lot of stuff and were able to reunify. They kept me on the
Mhm.
cases that were just a little bit uplifting, and then took me off the cases that were still new and other people could get a handle, so I kinda
Yeah.
left, like, slowly, which was nice because it was a nice, well-rounded way to close that chapter.
Yeah, felt complete. Yeah.
Yeah, it did, yeah, because it was weird when I left, but then I found coaching and somatic
Yeah.
work, and it really I didn't realize that that was gonna be the beginning of my deep inner work. I thought, like,
Mm.
once I left, I'll be fine.
Okay,
It
yes. Yes.
wasn't that way. It was like a rude
Yeah.
awakening, like somebody had hit me over a sledgehammer, and, because I am so empathetic,
Mm.
I was carrying a lot of emotion that I
Yeah.
had been present for and a lot of crisis that I had been present for and never
Yeah.
really got to process because 'cause you're
Mhm.
going crisis to the next when you're in that field. And you're just there, right? You're trying to hold people up and find solutions and a path forward and all of that good stuff, and when you're not doing that, you're writing court reports and you're
Mm.
it's like a lot of movement,
Yes.
constant movement, so you're never
Yes.
really processing anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that all of that stuff was gonna start coming up. I thought I
Yeah.
was gonna be done, and that's
Mhm.
unfortunately not how PTSD works, so,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I had to learn to
No, and
sit.
yeah, and it's so crazy to well, it's not crazy to see, but it makes a lot of sense, right? That you're like, okay, I'm quitting this job. I'm not gonna have all of this stress anymore. There's not gonna be all this trauma. I can finally get to my kiddo and motherhood and the way I want to be showing up. And then it's like, oh wait, all of that was still with me because you've been suppressing it all. And I mean, you had to move from one trauma to the next and being in these situations of this very heightened state and not having time to process those as they came because you were onto something the next day. And then trying to go home and also juggle being a mom and motherhood the way you wanted to and your personal life. Moving from that career into motherhood and the way you wanted to show up is such a testament to your self awareness because I feel like so many of us, we just push forward and we continue on. And we're like, well, this is my job and I'm a mom and I have to balance all of this. We have to feel like we're superwoman and there's all this pressure to just keep going. And so I'm so proud of you for stopping and saying, wait, this isn't what I wanted this to look like. This isn't what this is supposed to feel like. I'm not showing up the way I want to for the people that I love. And so
Right.
I'm so proud of you for stopping and saying, no, this needs to change and I will figure it out because
Yeah.
I'm assuming in your mind you didn't have this huge grand plan of this coaching business and what you were going to get into. And I'm assuming it was kind of a stage of, I really value being a mother and motherhood and the way I want to show up, and I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
knew there was work that needed to be done. Obviously, working in the trauma field too, I had told my supervisor, I'm like, I think stuff is being triggered in me now, and
Mm,
it's time for me to bow out. Like, I
yes.
just because I had worked in that field, I'm like, there's
Yeah.
something going deeper
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
just this stress at work.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
we're used to stress. It was like something needed to
Mm,
like come up at that point. Um, and yeah, I was like, I do not want to be irritable. I do not want to be moody with my kid. Like,
hmm.
I want to connect. I want to play. I want to laugh. I
Yeah.
want to be motherly.
Mm,
Like in how
yeah.
we envision it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
saying
Yeah.
I'm perfect and I don't get irritable now, but
You're
it's
right.
like night
Right. Yeah.
and day. Like the emotional regulation when you can like sense you're getting irritable, take a deep breath and like
Hmm.
choose to in a way that is still connecting rather than just kind of like curt or like
Hmm.
short or
Yeah.
reactive or dismissive or whatever kind of reactions you have when you're emotionally dysregulated. It's so different. And
Mm,
I don't think I would have been able to ever accomplish that had I not
yeah.
really taken the time for myself to
Yes.
learn how to sit and create sort of the practices and lifestyle and habits
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
with all of
And
that.
what a important season of your life though, going through that transformation. I feel like, I mean, you designed it that way initially, right? That was how you were going to go through this life and experience that transformation, but that's so powerful. And knowing that your daughter is the one to help you kind of step into that, and I love that. That's so incredible.
I know, and she's such a
Yeah.
smart little cookie, and she's so in tune with her own
Mhm.
emotions, like, and so just like the opposite of what I was when I was
Mhm.
little. I almost, like, envy her, like, "I wish I could have been like that. Good for you." Like,
Yes.
good for you. You just speak up when you need to. If you don't like something, you say it. Yeah, it's like she taught me a lot, and I know, like, we're teaching each other.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
is really cool. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the best.
No, and that's reciprocal, right? Like give yourself credit because you're the one raising her to have the space and the freedom and the safety to speak up and to feel confident in what she believes and what she wants. And that's so powerful. I feel like that's the ideal of how we're raising this new generation of women to be able to stand up for themselves and have confidence and say what you want and hold boundaries. That's so needed.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking generational curses, trauma, whatever you wanna call call them.
Yeah, you broke that, and now you're raising her to break those as well. So,
Yeah.
I love
Pat
that.
on the back.
Yes, yes, you deserve it. The amount of acknowledgement that we should give ourselves that we don't normally, it's crazy. Like, I will accomplish everything that I planned in doing in a year, and I'll do it in a month, and I'm like, "Ah, I'm not doing that much. I'm not doing enough." We need to give ourselves credit
Oh,
for the incredible things that we are doing, and, like, that's general. That's women, right? We don't give ourselves enough credit, and we're doing amazing things. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true. I love seeing all the women in their power lately, especially in the online space. It's like we
yeah.
found our voices, we're not scared, and
Yes,
it's awesome to watch.
yeah, yeah. Creating that space for ourselves. Um, so, speaking of being empowered and creating space for ourselves, tell us what you do primarily with your clients now. What does trauma informed coaching look like for you?
So I'm also an embodied processing practitioner, which is a somatic
Mhm.
practitioner. So
Okay.
helping people get into their body and regulate their nervous system. But basically, trauma informed coaching is just someone who understands and knows how your past experiences affect your current issues or
Okay.
challenges, whether it's like your thought patterns, your behavioral patterns, your relationships, and
Okay. Yeah.
how your past affects your nervous system and how you react and respond to kind of the
Mhm.
world
Yeah.
or whatever situation you're in.
I
And they
mean, it
can help
completely
see you
does.
through that.
No, our body is used to that physical response and what we learned in those patterns. And so that
Yeah.
completely translates to how we behave, how we respond, our actions today. Yeah.
Yeah. It affects all your choices,
Uh-huh.
your confidence, your self-esteem, how you fight in relationships,
Mm,
the types of partners you feel worthy of choosing. It
mhm.
affects a lot, and when your past experiences, your trauma is running the show, you'll
Yeah.
usually know because your life it doesn't feel like you're choosing anything. It feels like stuff is, like, happening to you,
Yes.
and, like, you don't really have control over anything, and you just feel off.
Mhm.
So it's a powerful tool for healing and personal growth. So if you can get a trauma-informed coach
Yeah.
or obviously therapists too. I know not
Yeah.
all therapists are trauma-informed or they don't work in that like
Mhm.
line.
Mhm.
So it is
Yeah.
important for somebody to know all of that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're already aware that you have trauma and previous patterns that you want to be working through. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And the
So,
somatic just really helps because a lot of the times it's our nervous system running the show.
mm,
So what embodied processing does is it takes people into their bodies, will call in like a trigger. So let's say, I don't know, I'm getting irritated that my kid is in the bath and she's yelling for me, but it's like a reaction that's not proportional to the actual
Okay.
stress.
Yes.
So like that's just a simple example, but we'll
Yeah.
bring that in and we'll create a safe container. After we do that, we'll invite that trigger in, and then you can track those sensations and really digest the original imprint of why that's so reactive to you. And
Mm,
it could be like my mom during bath time when I was 5, like my mom always used to yell, or like
mm,
something like some memory. It'll connect to the original, like, why you're so reactive to
mhm.
those triggers in
Yeah.
daily life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%. And so many of the times, I think people just kind of push those reactions off and they're like, "Oh, I don't know, I just overreacted, or that's just a coincidence." And 99% of the time, there's reasoning for what we're doing. There's something behind your behavior, your actions, your choices, your nervous system just off the charts, and I'm overreacting about it. And so there is something very important to that. And it might be literally, like you said, at 5, it might be a deeply suppressed, embedded childhood memory that or experience that you are still processing through. So, yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, and the cool thing too is, like, once you learn how to use your body, because a
Hmm.
lot of people with trauma, they're cut off from those sensations because
Mm,
pain that they hold, so a lot of people aren't even really able to identify an emotion,
okay.
have that discernment of what's going on.
Hmm.
And once you like learn how to use your body in emotional processing, it becomes way more intuitive. Like you're healing and like
Yeah.
now where I get irritated or like I could sense anger coming through, I'll notice my jaw start to clench
Mm,
and then I'll know it's time to take a pause. And I'm like,
yeah.
"What the heck? The dog is literally just asking for water," or, like,
Yeah.
something that's not angering. You know what I mean? But when you have trauma, things it's
Hmm.
like it's very intense, like, you're
Yes.
overwhelmed when you feel something because a lot of the times those emotional, like, processing is underdeveloped, so but it
Mm,
becomes way more intuitive, which is awesome because
yeah.
then you can learn how to do it for yourself, basically.
Yes. Yes. And reading your body's physical signs and cues, like, our body is always going to tell us when we're experiencing something, when we're feeling something, we need to process something. Like, so many women, especially with autoimmune disorders, it's coming from trauma. It's coming from being suppressed. It's coming from not being able to express the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings. Yeah.
I know, it weighs heavy on us, and
Hmm.
our
Yeah.
yeah, the stress, the cortisol, it
Hmm.
leaks out and into your body and your organs and
Yeah.
your little heart carrying all those emotional,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
And at some point, all of that is building up. It will come out in some way. And typically that's a physical manifestation of something going on with our body. Like a lot of times with autoimmune disorders, depression, I feel like people are getting more diagnoses kind of later on in life of autism, being on the spectrum, those kinds of things, because they're like, okay, I've gone this long and I'm experiencing all of these things and I'm still not able to process this. And so I feel like that kind of leads into more of the exploration of that kind of later on as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing to fixate on it. I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
people, like, need to take their symptoms and use it as, like, a map for what
Yes.
to, like, work on and be aware of and mindful of,
Hmm.
uh, because I've seen people where they get lost in their
Yes.
diagnosis, and it's more of,
Yeah.
like, an identity of why
Mm-hmm.
they can't overcome something, like a
Yes.
challenge, and I really feel like with most things I know there's very extreme cases, and that's not what I'm talking
Hmm.
about here, but with
Yeah.
most things you can learn to be mindful and aware of those symptoms and
Yeah.
kind of curb them a little bit.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a map, right? So it's finding the tools and the resources and the modalities that are going to help you process through those things depending on the way your body works, the way your mind works and the way you're processing emotions. It's not a crutch, it's not an excuse to say I'm incapable of working through emotions. It's okay, this is what I'm experiencing and these are tools that are designed to help me through that. Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and I love that you do the somatic work, the body processing. That is so huge. Connecting the mind with the body and the emotions with the body, because I feel like, especially as women, we are so disconnected from our bodies and from our intuition and all of that pain and that suppression. We turn it off. We just
Yeah.
completely turn it all off.
I
Yeah.
know. Isn't that once I learned how to like use my body to process things and all of
Yes.
that wisdom that we hold and just that it's like our guiding, it's like literally
Hmm.
guiding us through life. I'm like, what is going on? Why can't we just start teaching this in kindergarten? And
Yeah.
then other stuff starts to make sense. It's like, no wonder they want women to feel ashamed of their body. We are
Yeah.
powerhouses. We literally create life. We
Yep.
bring souls into the world, and
Yep.
they want to shame us for
Hmm.
that and our
Hmm.
power.
Yep.
And it all starts to like kind of make sense once you really start working with the body.
Yes. The shame and the suppression of women's bodies, and it's a no-win for us. It's a lose if we do, if we don't, right? If we have desires, if we don't have desires. They want women to be virgins, then but you want a freaking bed, right? And so it's all of this complete opposites to where women just can't win in their own bodies, and it's by design.
Yeah.
It's by design because that is our power. We are literally portals that create
Yep.
life. And the only way for them to keep some of that in check was to completely suppress us literally at birth for centuries, for millennia. I mean, the power that we hold as women is incredible. And most of us we don't even know any of it. It's like the tip
I
of the iceberg.
know. I know. Yeah. And I mean, I'm already like a social justice empathic person, but now
Yeah.
that and like seeing in the United States, I mean, obviously there's laws now that are trying to suppress women,
Hmm.
trying to go backwards.
Yeah.
And then the different types of cultures that are really suppressive and
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm not even gonna go into that, but yeah, it's just sad. It's super sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're here right now. That's why we chose to be here right now, to help women elevate in the collective and awaken the feminine. And it's funny, I was just talking with someone about how I feel like it's such a privilege to be in this time right now doing what we're doing. And I know you work with men and women, but you're helping elevate the collective on both sides, right? You're helping heal. And that's going to help men in relationships with women, women in relationships with men. And the more we can establish like healthy, valuing, respectful, mature relationships, that that elevates all of us. It elevates the frequency, right? And then we're living in the passion and joy and fulfillment that we're meant to experience while we're here. We're not supposed to be living these
Yes.
dim, suppressed, mediocre lives, you know?
No, it's all about presence, finding joy,
Hmm.
being grateful, being
Yeah.
appreciative. I mean, presence is everything, and a lot of us have a hard time being present because 'cause we're either, 1, we're depressed, so we're
Yeah.
constantly being pulled back, or we're anxious, and we're
Hmm.
constantly, like, pulled forward. We're never really, like, focused and present with, like, what we're doing, and
Yeah.
that's where you really, like, find the joy and connection, right? It's hard to connect
Hmm.
if you're not in the moment with
Yeah.
people. Definitely, it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, I know meditation really helped me with that, was
Mm-hmm.
learning how to
Yeah.
be present, but,
Yeah.
it's
I really like the way the way you phrase that, depression being pulled back and being anxious being pulled forward. I've never thought about it as like the movement of that in time and like in space, but that's spot on. That's so true.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't wanna simplify. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to it when people are depressed and anxious, but really that's what it is, right? It's like you're overly worried or overly thinking about things, and when you're depressed, it's sadness. It's like it's pulling you down and it's pulling you back into a
Yes.
time that maybe wasn't so great, and you're
Yes.
really missing out on, like, what's happening around you, and I had to be
Mm,
cautious of that too with my own daughter. I'm speaking from experience, not just
mm.
with coaching people with anxiety and depression, but also
Yeah.
me, and like really learning to tune in and connect and be present and
Mm.
grateful for and laughing and all of those little things that you miss out
Yeah.
on when you're not present.
Yeah. Yeah, the joy and the fulfillment, and sometimes it's things that you wouldn't even expect to be joyful or fulfilling or exciting, but it's happening because you are present in that moment, and sometimes just realizing, like, I have the life that I was dreaming of 5, 10 years ago. Like, that life I wanted, I'm living it right now, and I feel like that's such a helpful perspective because we tend to get lost in the, well, I want to be where I'm going to be 10 years from now. And I want to be doing all of these things. And I want to have all this abundance and money. And it's like, no, I'm already living that dream life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was hard for me 'cause we bought a house and we got to skip, like, a bunch of steps. We bought our first house, but it's, like, a decent, like, good first
Hmm.
house, especially for the economy. We bought it during COVID and stuff, and then we have our
Hmm.
daughter, we have our dog, we live by the
Yeah.
beach, and, we have a good marriage, a good partnership with my husband, and
Yeah.
you would've there was something just off in me,
Hmm.
and, like, not being able to enjoy that, and that's
Yeah.
something to watch out for too. It's like, are you really grateful and appreciative for the life you have? Like,
Mm.
if this is something co-created and you're not enjoying it, that probably means something is, like,
Mm.
pulling you out of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something's pulling you out of it or it's not quite aligned. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
we have this vision of what we want and it's not what we thought it would be. There is that too.
True.
Like, we talk so much about the journey that we're all supposed to take of going to college, meeting the guy, buying the house, having the kid, right? And that can be a very fulfilling journey. But sometimes there's times when we get there and it's like, but was this really what I thought it was going to be? Because I didn't, I didn't work a decade and do all of this for this, right? And so
Yeah.
it's sometimes there's that realization too. But
You have to pivot or, like, be adaptable. That's part of being an adult is learning to be adaptable and pivot for
yeah,
sure. Because yeah,
yes,
things
yeah,
are not what they seem.
yeah. No, I mean, that was my personal journey, I went to school, I got the degree, bought the house, married the guy, and then it was like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait." I did what I was supposed to do, but none of this was what I wanted to do or I felt aligned, and so then it's pivoting, it's deciding, "Okay, this is no longer the path for me, and I'm gonna make a change to what I do feel aligned with." So, I've
For
been
you.
there, I had that experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine in a different sense too.
Mhm.
It's like I had a stable job with
Yep.
retirement and benefits and PTO and, like, all the things, right? And it was, like, one of those things, it's like, this is not working
Yeah.
anymore. There's something going on. There's something deeper going on that is
Yeah.
not aligning. Yeah, so that was a strange pivot too, because you think you
Mm.
have it all figured out, and
Yes.
then, yeah, this is, like, starting
Yeah.
completely over.
And on
Yeah.
paper, it looks like everything you should want. On paper, it looks like the dream life. But then in reality, it's like, I don't feel fulfilled. I'm not getting pleasure or joy out of this. I'm feeling very disconnected. And it's, yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of, especially women, are experiencing that too because they've gone the similar path. And it's sitting down and saying, what do I want? What lights me up? What's bringing me purpose, joy, and fulfillment? And is that aligned with my life right now? Because sometimes there are just small little pivots to make, small little changes. Sometimes it is just being present and changing your
Mhm.
perspective. And then other times, like in your and I's case, it will take a massive life shift. Like it will take a very, very big change to say, I can step out of this box of who I was supposed to be and I can go build my life in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes courage and just complete faith in yourself for sure.
Mhm. It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. And it was funny because, I was getting divorced and people be like, so what's your plan? Do I don't need one
Mm.
right now, you know? I
Right.
don't have to have every single step planned out. I still had a great job, right? I knew I was going to take care of myself and it was that trust in myself and the universe like I've got it. Whatever happens, I've got it. I didn't come this far to not have it.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's knowing yourself and what you're capable of and believing in
Mhm.
yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
Mhm.
Congratulations for you.
Thank you. And congratulations to you too. I mean, I feel like we're an example of having self-awareness and being brave, being courageous and making a big shift. So, it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. Yes. I wanna, like, instill that in others too,
Yes.
my work.
Yes,
We can all
that's what
do
we're
it.
here for. That's why I have a podcast and that's why you're on with me today because we were supposed to share this message. So, that's one of my favorite parts too is there's someone that aligns with every episode. Right? Like you were meant to be on this show with me today so that we could reach a very specific person or people, but someone who specifically needed to hear our message. So, it's powerful. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I love the woo woo and I love that there are no coincidences and that the universe has everything aligned for us exactly as it's meant to be. So,
Yeah, I try and balance it too. I'm into the spiritual stuff too. I'm processing so much trauma at once
mhm.
that it was like the dark night of the soul, basically.
Yes.
Like, it was a long time. I wanna say for at least a year and a half. I was in
Yeah.
depths of it, and then
Mm.
climbing out, um, started getting a little bit more focused again and grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, getting in touch with my spirituality in a different way because I grew up Catholic,
Okay.
and I never resonated with Catholicism, and I went to a Catholic school for 14 years, so my
Oh,
entire
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
since I was 4 all the way up until 18.
Okay.
Uh, but it never resonated with me the way they
Mm.
taught about the scripture
Mhm.
and the story of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. It never really I never connected with it. So that was a
Yeah.
little bit traumatizing too, to be brought up in a religion that totally felt off.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and especially when you go to school, it's like they're drilling it in you. Like, it's not like
Mm.
we just went to church whenever we wanted. It was like
No.
we were in school.
That's your life
Yeah,
at that point.
and yeah, it was like your whole yeah, they make it your whole life.
Mhm.
And so that was a little bit traumatizing because I never understood, like, what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And, like, on a deeper level, like,
Right, right.
I just
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
like, it was like, "You guys are contradicting yourselves." I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so I always considered myself spiritual. I
Mm.
didn't really understand what that meant. I thought it was like I'm spiritual like, looking for spiritual experiences, but when you
Okay.
go through that, like, spiritual awakening,
Yeah. Yeah.
you realize you're like, "Oh, that's what it is." I'm like a spirit in a human body, and you
Yes.
just start
Yes.
processing different stuff, and, like,
Yes.
you're like, "No wonder that didn't resonate with me. No
Mm.
wonder I went through that." You have all of these, like, epiphanies, like you
Mhm.
were saying,
Mhm.
like, journey, like, processing my adoption and my childhood trauma,
Yeah.
working with families and kids, and having to literally physically do some of that
Mm.
stuff and, like, sit with people and hold their hand and cry with them and things like that. I didn't realize that that was me also healing. I
Mhm.
always thought I was a nice
Yeah.
person. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure some people say I was not a nice person, but for the
Yeah.
most part,
But I mean,
it
and
was like,
you were put in that
"Huh,
place for both, right? You were put in that place to heal them and heal yourself. And you were meant to be in that position in that role because it was mutually beneficial for both. And so like
yeah,
don't discredit yourself. Like you went into that profession very altruistically, right, to help others, but also it was healing for you too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know
Yeah.
the depths of it. I didn't even know I needed healing at
Yeah.
that deep
Yeah.
level. And then to process somebody else's trauma, like the vicarious
Mm,
trauma I had on top of my childhood trauma, that
yeah.
was like it was beyond, like,
Yeah.
weird. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was,
Yes.
like,
And
stuff would
I
just come up, and, like,
yeah.
I was crying for, like, I wanna say, like, almost a
Mhm.
year straight, like and not
Yeah.
consistently crying,
Right,
but,
right,
like
yeah.
but it was, like, lot of tears that had never been processed, and I
Mhm.
would just have a memory, like, pop up and, like, think of, like, kids I had
Mm,
or been with,
yeah.
really tragic, like, situations, and I never got to
Yeah.
cry, and I would just start crying, and,
Mm,
like,
yeah.
it was just weird it was super weird, and then also crying for myself and my childhood and, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
trying to rewire my brain so I could respond more appropriately
Yes.
to, like, my family and not get so hot-headed and, like,
Yeah.
learn to
Yeah.
breathe. It was a crazy intense time, and then also learning, like, about, like, how to communicate with your spirit guides and, like, if you're on the
Yeah.
right path and, like, having faith and, like yeah, it was, like
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
All of
glad
that
that
was
intensity is over.
yeah, no, but all of that was your divine journey through healing to find spirituality, to find the depth of your spirituality and like that spirituality for you isn't something that's external. It's internal, right? That came from you and your healing process and like everything that you went through. And I feel like it's also really important to point out you said that was a year to a year and a half of a deep, deep emotional processing healing state. So when
Mhm.
we think about healing, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll go to therapy once or twice. I'll work with a coach for a couple weeks. Then I'll be good to go. People think it's this quick fix, this easy band-aid. And like, no, you are going to the depths of your childhood and healing it step by step by step until you're able to come out and be able to process emotions. And that's it's very important to point out because it's not always just quick and oh, I'll go to therapy a couple times and then I'll be great. I'll cry a few
Yeah,
times in therapy. I'll let it all out. No, no, it's a very deep process and you have to do the work. The
you
therapists, the
do.
coaches, the tools and resources are all incredibly helpful and a
Yeah.
lot of times necessary to help guide you through that, to support you, to hold that space for you. But ultimately, it's you doing the inner work. And so,
Ye
just seeing a coach once a week or just going to therapy once a week isn't going to help you process all of that. It really is in the day to day and letting yourself release all of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it doesn't have to be so intense either. I
Yeah.
think I just had a nervous breakdown because of my job and, like,
Yeah.
the intensity of it. It was like I was holding
Yeah.
so much trauma in my
Mhm.
body.
Mhm.
But, I mean, a lot of people with childhood trauma do go into those professions. So, I know
Yes.
it
Yeah.
happens not just to me, it happens to a
Yeah.
lot of people, and they don't even
And it
understand why.
and all of that trauma can be very intense, even if it's very, very suppressed, even if that was from childhood. Like a lot of people are dealing with very intense trauma, and we
That's
don't
true.
credit it
Yeah.
as that. We just think, well, I didn't have a good childhood. Who did? But like, no, there are things that are still affecting you to this day to work through. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, and learning how to be mindful and, like, intentional with your choices and your
Mhm.
actions, it really
Yeah.
is in the day-to-day that
Yeah.
you're gonna be healing because it's one thing, like you said, to go to therapy
Mhm.
and talk about stuff and have somebody hold that space for you and co-regulate with
Yeah.
you, hopefully, right? And give you different perspectives and different tools. But
Mhm.
you're really, it's your day to day.
It
It's
is.
what
Yeah.
you're choosing to do and your habits and how you're choosing to connect with like
Mhm.
the people around you,
Yeah.
connect with yourself. And for me, it was really learning how to sit with myself and all the discomfort that I had
Mm.
avoiding for so long. It was really learning to sit with it and be okay with it and let it rise and
Mhm.
then process that and then, you know, not letting it, like, consume me. Like,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
being able to then go cook dinner, still being able to go then pick up my
Yes.
daughter, go to the park, like, have
Yes.
energy still, like, lifted, like, you processed it, and
Mhm.
that really, like, that takes a lot of practice. It does. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of practice because sometimes when you have those, like, flashbacks, emotional flashbacks, or something triggers you
Mhm.
really bad, it can knock you down.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it can really take over your brain for, like, days
Mhm.
times
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
don't have the capacity or the resilience.
Mhm.
So, somatic meditation really helped me a lot, learning to sit in the discomfort, and then
Yes.
honestly, it was like getting out, getting sun, like, going on
Mhm.
walks. I started a garden.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
started like house projects that were more creative, like using like
Yeah.
different sides of my
Mhm.
brain and like
Yeah.
all of that good stuff that like is annoying and you don't want to hear because it seems crazy like when you're in
Mhm.
the throes of like emotional overwhelm and like
Yeah.
it's like how is a walk going to help me, but really you're trying to
Mhm.
regulate your nervous system and you're trying to find pockets of safety in your everyday life, and
Mhm.
you're trying to get in touch with your body again and connect
Yeah.
with yourself so you can realize when you're being triggered, realize what the underlying feelings are of your mood and your attitude and your like all of that stuff that's kind of
Mhm.
guiding you, and being more mindful about how you're handling it. So it's not
Yeah.
controlling you and interfering with your life in a
Yeah.
negative way, you
Yeah.
know?
It's funny. I was going to ask you as we wrap up here. I was going to say, what are some of your favorite like modalities or suggestions? And you read my mind because you were talking about going on a walk, sitting in the discomfort, meditating, right? Guided meditations help a lot. And then doing something physical, doing something that brings you joy, like planting a garden. So I think
Mhm.
those are perfect suggestions of just simple day to day things that you can do to help get you out of the repetitive patterns, the perseveration, right? And the focusing on some of those things. So,
Yes, yes, and then also realizing
right.
what you have the capacity
Mm,
for when I'm dysregulated, or at least in the beginning, like, trying to connect, right, with your kids is exhausting because a lot of the
yeah.
times they need co-regulation and they need, right? Because 'Cause they're little,
Yeah.
it's normal,
Mhm.
but when you're dysregulated, it feels like
Mhm.
you could be suffocating, like something terrible is
Yeah.
happening. And so,
Yeah.
like, learning what you can tolerate, like, I would do chalk with my daughter so we could just sit outside in the sun
Mhm.
and be
Mhm.
creative and do chalk, but at least it's
Yeah.
minimal, like, it's quiet, you can put on music, but, like, all the
Mhm.
active play, I couldn't really tolerate, like, the imaginative stuff, I would have a hard time playing
Mm.
imagination.
Uh-huh.
It's easier for me now, but and just
Yeah.
really being honest, feel guilty about it, but say,
Right.
"Hey, I don't have," maybe not to your kid, but, decide what you have the capacity for and maybe do a different activity instead of just saying no, because you are gonna have to build up
Mhm.
that capacity, right?
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
necessary, like, you have to
Yeah.
interact with people.
And I think the
Yeah.
awareness of that is huge though, knowing like what your capacity is and then slowly growing that is a great strategy for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing your incredible story and your experience. And I am so proud of you for going through that journey and making the changes that you need to, and all of the self awareness that you are now using to help your clients evolve and expand and grow.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you.
Um, so I'm on Instagram, Julie Matye 83. That's Julie Matye, Matye 83.
Okay.
That's the year I was born. And that's on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook. I have a group, Building Healthy Relationships
Okay.
from Disconnection to Deep Connection,
Mm.
where you can kind of ask questions and get support from other people in the group, and then I'll
Yeah.
also, like, just randomly, put stuff that you should be aware of
Mhm, mhm.
and
Yeah,
mindful of in your relationships and
yeah.
how to build a deeper connection. And then also I'm starting, a new membership because I know it's super important for
Mhm.
people to get the support they need at a really affordable rate. So I'm starting this week the Growth Circle,
Oh,
and yeah, where it'll be group coaching and a lot of somatic tools to help you emotionally regulate, mindfulness practices,
mm,
all of that good stuff that will help you grow and build your
yeah,
capacity resilience, which we need.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, that's exciting. Yay. Yeah, I'll put it all in the show notes so everyone can find all of your information and contact you that way.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, gorgeous goddess, for sharing on our episode today. And as always, for our listeners, if you felt like you received value from the show, please like, share, save, share it with any women in your life. This is the best way for us to help get the message out and elevate the collective. So I will see all of you gorgeous goddesses next